So let's go ahead and get started. Today we are talking primarily about peer-to-peer fundraising, which is such a useful tool that we have in the Give for Good system, but it's not necessarily utilized a lot. And so I'm happy to have Maylin Brown from Neon One here to talk about peer-to-peer fundraising today. But before we jump over to Maylin, we've got a few reviews to go over. I like to start all of the trainings with a few basic reminders. So today we're going to also review all of the marketing and advertising opportunities that we have up right now. And then we're going to discuss the peer-to-peer fundraising, why it's effective, how it works, and how to set it up. And then we'll also have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions while we're going, please pop them into the chat. And then there will be a couple of opportunities where we'll answer the Q&A in the chat. And at the very end, you'll be able to unmute and we'll kind of have open discussion about everything. Other trainings and resources that are out there. This is our 4th training. We have one more left next Thursday, but they are all recorded and available on the resources page on the public side and the back end of the Give for Good site. And our next training next Thursday is going to be about what to do after Give for Good Day, which I'm excited about because that's something we've never done a training on before. So it's more about donor development and stewardship. We have all of the important documents, graphics, and marketing resources. And I also link all of the emails there just in case they're hitting your spam or you're not getting them. You can view all of the email blasts that I send to the nonprofits there. Basic rules and reminders. I go over all of these in our first training session, which was the prizes, events, and Lagniappe Fund. I go into these in more details, but basic reminders, we are raising unrestricted dollars through Give for Good. So donors will not have the option to add a note when they check out that it's meant to be used for anything in particular. It's all unrestricted. You'll receive just one check from the Community Foundation for general operating support. No benefits can be received from Give for Good donations. So no golf tournament entry fees, sponsorships, event tickets, or anything like that. We send a receipt to all of the donors as soon as they donate through Give for Good. So you do not need to send a receipt or a tax acknowledgement letter to them, particularly at the end of the year. I know a lot of organizations resend out their receipts throughout the year. Do not resend the do not send a Give for Good receipt. They already have them from us, and then they can request them to be resent on the Give for Good website if needed. And then if you are hosting an event, we have special 2021 event requirements around the COVID restrictions. And if you are hosting an in-person event, we do require insurance for Community Foundation to be added as an additional insured. And we go over all of that in the event training. So make sure you check out those that training and the events document to make sure you're in good with all of the events for 2021. What's new this year? CiviCorps is now Neon One. So if you are receiving any emails that come from the Neon One system, that is our host for the Give for Good platform. And so if you reset your password, the email will come from them. It's not spam. They are a legitimate organization that we work with. So we're just letting everybody know that CiviCorps is now called Neon One. The volunteer and event search pages are live. So we'll be sending people there throughout the entire year, not just during Give for Good. If anybody is looking for volunteer opportunities or nonprofit events, we're going to use that as a year-round community resource. We also have a needs tab, which is new this year on, you can submit needs on your back end. So if you're doing a coat drive, you're looking for canned goods, you're looking for office supplies, you can list those in-kind needs and services there. The point of sale technology, something we've been looking forward to and we're really excited about. That is essentially like the little swipers that you plug into your phone so that people can donate to your organization without having to enter credit card information. If you're doing any sort of in-person or drive-through event, that's going to be really convenient. We are still putting that into our system, but it will be ready to go prior to the April 20th date, and we'll have plenty of information for you guys and instructions on how to get that up and running. And then as a reminder, early giving now is real-time giving. So starting on April 20th, people are actually having their credit cards run. They no longer have to set up an account and schedule a donation to be run on Gives Day. So I have added a ton of marketing and advertising rates sheets and opportunities to the resources pages, but I just wanted to review those real quick because there's so much information out there. And again, if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat. First of all, we have Paragon Press, which is the Community Foundation's printing partner, and they're offering special rates on flyers, posters, postcards, rack cards, and new this year, yard signs. So you'll see the design here has last year's dates on it, but the design is the same, but it will have the updated dates and updated date logo on them. We have updated prices for this year. You can see here, this is the flyer and the poster, which are really convenient because it gives donors just a 1, 2, 3 on how to donate. And then they're customizable. So you'll just send Paragon your logo. They'll drop the logo in, they'll print them for you, and then send them right to your organization. Here are the rack cards and the postcards, same thing. You can drop your logo and your custom URL onto these print materials, and it'll give you a 1, 2, 3 on how to donate. So they're a great resource to mail or have in your facility to give out to donors. And Paragon will also work with you on the mailing services. So if you have a mailing list, you can also give that to them and they will send them out for you as well. We use them for all of our printing materials and they are fantastic. New this year, we have yard signs. This is the yard sign design. It is double-sided. So something that we would really love to see all over town is if tons of nonprofits got a yard sign and put it at their facility. If you don't have a facility, you could also, if you have your own yard sign, put them next to each other. So everybody knows which organization to support, but just to get out there in the community and remind people that Give for Good is coming up and that your organization is participating, especially if you have a high traffic facility, you know, that's on a road where everybody can see, or you have people coming in and out of your facility on a regular basis. It's a great reminder. The yard signs are $11. And just so you know, if you buy a ton of them, you won't have to repurchase them year over year because we're going to print stickers to cover the dates with the new dates for next year. So if you invest in those this year, you won't have to repurchase them every year. Real quick, I've got a question in the chat. Can the printed materials have a QR code linked to your donation page? Yes, so if you wanted to do a QR code versus the logo or do both, Paragon can work with you to customize those. Another note about all of the Paragon materials is they will honor the special rates for the Give for Good participants, even if you have your own design. So if you have your own artwork that you've designed, then they will honor those rates. You do not have to use the design that we've provided for everybody. And then is there a minimum for yard signs? No, there is not. So they're going to order them in bulk and they're just going to sell them as they come in. So you do not have to have, you can just order just one. So here is a screenshot of what the order form looks like for Paragon. This is available on the resources page. You'll just have to, you can download it, print it, and email it, fax it, or you can even call Paragon and just let them know what you'd like to order, and they'll get with you about making all of those customizations that you need in various quantities and things like that. Moving on to the Forum magazine does a special Give for Good issue. This year it's going to be the April 21st issue. So it's giving is going to be open and live at the time that the Forum comes out. And so this is for their print and their digital versions. The Community Foundation pays for a wrap on the outside of the magazine. So it'll be a big eye-catching Give for Good issue. And then if you purchase an ad for the Forum, they're going to put all of the nonprofits' ads together, sort of like a nonprofit directory. So there will be a big article about how to donate. There will be a list of all participating nonprofits, and then you can purchase ads in that directory as well. That rate sheet is also available on the resources page. Then we have the KTBS morning show. That's a lot of people's favorites. It is bright and early in the morning, but it's so much fun to see everybody there. KTBS has 4 spots on their morning show that are dedicated to Give for Good on Give for Good Day. This year, just like last year, we're going to be doing the drive-through nonprofit parade. So you can get in a truck, you can decorate your car with signs. Last year, there was a very large stuffed tiger strapped to the roof of somebody's car, which I love to see. And so on each of those spots, they're going to highlight the cars driving through, and you'll have an opportunity to just stop and promote your organization for about 5 to 7 seconds before the next car comes through. So that's going to be the morning of Give for Good. It's from 4 to 6 a.m. I'll be there bright and early. I'd love to see you there. And we're going to announce that location when it's closer to time. And then we have some other opportunities coming up with KTBS where you can submit videos and they're going to string them together through some commercials throughout the weeks leading up to Give for Good. So stay tuned for more information about those. TOWNSQUARE Media, we did an entire dedicated training to this last week on social media and digital advertising. So Jackie Whaley from TOWNSQUARE did a really great job of actually explaining what all of these things mean, because if you're not familiar with digital advertising, it can be a little overwhelming, but she really broke that down and did a great job. But if you're interested in reserving the digital advertising or the social advertising or the radio spots, they have some deadlines coming up. So you want to make sure you get those to Jackie as soon as you can. And all of these rate sheets, again, are on the resources page. And the great thing about TOWNSQUARE is they will handle the graphic design for you as well. So if you don't have an ad put together, don't worry, they will help you out with all of that. And last thing I'm going to mention is we also have the t-shirts available. I've told you guys it's a lot of information and a lot of marketing materials we've had come in the past couple of weeks. The t-shirts are $10 a piece. We have sizes small to 2X. And so all you have to do is email giveforgood@cfnla.org to place your order. It's cash or check only. So you'll just swing by the Community Foundation office to pick those up. We also have stickers. They are free. You can just stop by and pick up a handful to have at your facility. Or again, if you're doing one of those little events, they're stickers that say I gave. You can see the graphic right there on the page, sort of like the I voted stickers, or now the I got my vaccine sticker. So they're a really great marketing opportunity to not only have your donors share that they've given to you already that day, but also you can ask people to take pictures with them on, and they make really great, easy social media posts. The t-shirts, they are, just so everybody knows, because I always get this question, they are the Heather Navy shirt, but they look gray. They're a very like dark gray cobalt blue. They're a great color, and they're also super soft, and like they're the thin, soft material. They're super comfy, so I highly recommend those. So are there any questions real quick regarding any of the marketing materials before we move on? You can drop those in the chat, and I've got some upcoming dates here on the screen. We have one more training next Thursday at 1:30 via Zoom about what to do after Give for Good Day. April 19th is the last day to edit your profiles. We also have event information and insurance due that day. Giving opens on April 20th. We're getting so close, and I'm so excited. And then May 4th is the big day, Give for Good. So if there aren't any questions, when is the last date to buy shirts? Until we sell out. We have like 100 in them, 100 of them in the Community Foundation office. And so we'll be selling those up through Give for Good Day if you need those. Just email us and set up a time to swing by. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Okay, so moving on to peer-to-peer fundraisers. I just have a couple of slides to review before we turn it over to Maylin. She is the expert on peer-to-peer fundraising, but what is peer-to-peer fundraising? The term is kind of complicated sometimes. They've previously been called campaigns as well, if you've been with Give for Good for a while, but they are the pages where you can have your friends, family, volunteers, board members, clients set up a fundraising page that is their own page. They upload pictures, they do the description, they share their links with their networks, but all of the donations that come in on their page are linked to your organization and go to your leaderboard. They all go directly to your organization and count toward prizes and Lanyap Fund dollars. So it's a really great way to utilize your network, your influencers, your peers to get the message out there on behalf of your organization. They also, similar to the way that the organization profiles work, they can set goals, and they have the progress bar where they can track the progress. So say their goal is $500 throughout the day as they receive donations. The progress bar will move forward until they complete their goal, and then they can change their goals as well if they want to. If they're doing really well early on and they want to up their goal, they can always go back and do that as well. And this starts right now. So people can actually go set up campaigns right now, and we'll be able to set them up through May 3rd, which is the day before Give for Good. And again, they have their own separate link and profile, but it all funnels through to your organization's profile, and you'll get that donor information as well. Sorry, you can't use the forward button when you're sharing screen on Zoom. And so I always get my mouse lost when I'm trying to move pages. If you're familiar with GoFundMe or the Facebook birthday fundraisers, they look really similar to that and they act in the same way. Maylin's going to walk through all of this, what it actually looks like to set up a fundraiser. We'll also next week have a flyer up that has all of the instructions on it that you can just print out and share with your donors or email to your donors and your network as well to make it a really easy process for them. But they create the account on the Give for Good website by clicking that fundraise button on your profile. They're going to be automatically approved, but if there's someone that you don't want that fundraiser associated with your organization for whatever reason it is, you can go view them and remove them on the back end of your profile. You will get an email saying that somebody has created a campaign on your behalf. So you will get a notification that that's been done. And again, they can start creating campaigns now through May 3rd. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Maylin, which I'm really excited for you guys to hear from. She's wonderful. And if you weren't here before I started sharing my screen in the beginning, Maylin is our project manager for Neon One. So she works for Neon One. She's located in Denver. I talk to her a lot, but I'm excited for you guys to meet her.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Emily. Just a second while I pull up the presentation here. But as Emily said, I'm a project manager with Neon One. I'm a project manager over most Neon Giving Days. So, you know, here for North Louisiana and super excited for Give for Good. So I have a little information I'd like to share with you guys about fundraisers. So we will go ahead and continue. All right, a little bit about the agenda today. So on my presentation, we'll look over kind of what is peer-to-peer. Emily just kind of explained it, but just kind of another way to rephrase it in a way. Also, I'll show you how to create a fundraiser. It is the same as last year, but just for those of you who maybe haven't taken advantage of it, to get a quick peek on how easy it really is to create and spread the word. We'll actually look over some 2020 peer-to-peer data from Give for Good as well as from Neon Giving Days. So when we're looking at the Neon Giving Days data, that's actually across all of our Neon Giving Day platforms, which is about 30 to 40 giving days. Additional fundraising resources, which they will have links. So you guys, I'll get this presentation to Emily and she'll be able to post this so you guys can grab those link resources to use as well. And then just another peek at some important dates here. Alrighty, so peer-to-peer fundraisers are really a great way for you to get the word out further about your nonprofit organization. So you're kind of power donors or passionate volunteers who are super amplified about your organization. This is an amazing way to get them involved, and you know, they feel like they're included because they're helping spread awareness and being a philanthropist for your organization. So it's an additional way to spread the word because you can share directly to social media. You'll have a link that you can paste in emails. So really easy to get the word out. So to get started, you'll first navigate to the Give for Good website. You'll search for the nonprofit. You can technically search for fundraisers to take a peek at any that may already be started. But you would essentially search, locate the nonprofit that you want to create a fundraiser for and click the fundraise button. The fundraise button is shown here on a little peek of a test organization for you. Once you click the fundraise button, you'll be navigated to create the page and sign up for a donor account. You can personalize your fundraising page. So you can set a title. You can create your own custom URL. You can provide a summary, you know, tell your story about how your fundraiser is affiliated with the nonprofit and get that word out. You can upload a photo and set a goal. And then you'll want to share your fundraiser. So once your fundraiser is published from your direct fundraiser page, you do have the share option shown below where you can share directly to Facebook or Twitter. If you need to copy the URL, excuse me, you can copy that from the top of the web navigation link. And then just to review some data from last year. So taking a look at Give for Good specifically, last year you guys had 249 nonprofits, which is awesome. There were 97 fundraisers, so a good number, but I think we can do better there this year, you know, get the word spread out, get more of those donations coming in. Donations through peer-to-peer fundraising, you raised $101,723 in 2020. And 2020 for Neon Giving Day data across the platform, the average amount raised across these platforms was almost $1,200 per peer-to-peer page. So sometimes really amplifying this, get some big donations in sometimes. Actually looking at the data from 2020 compared to 2019, the revenue growth was 120% on processed donations through peer-to-peer pages. So we have seen across our company that the more fundraisers are being created, there is a huge growth in donations that are coming through to those pages. So definitely worth keeping in mind. There's some additional resources to help you all with fundraising. There's a presentation that our Neon Giving Days marketing team did on how to rock a P2P campaign during your giving day. So there is a video that's linked here that you can watch, and a P2P fundraising recruitment guide that's really helpful for you to kind of spread the word too. So again, we'll make sure you guys have access to these links in the slides so you can obtain those. And kind of a look through at some important dates. The first two bullets, we are basically here at the training today. So the next one we're looking at is early giving, opens on April 20th. You can start creating peer-to-peer pages now. And then on the 20th is the soonest that folks can start going ahead and donating to your page. The last day to create pages is on the 3rd, the day before the event. And then your Gift for Good event is on 4th. And that is it. So if you guys have any questions, I will take a peek at the chat here. There is a question. Can one particular donor have more than one P2P fundraiser running at the same time? Technically, yes. You can create a fundraising page for multiple nonprofits. You can technically create more than one fundraising page for a single nonprofit. So in your donor account, you do have the ability to create more than one fundraiser.
Yeah, and then Emery, to answer your question about can you get this portion of the PowerPoint separate from Zoom? Yes, so when I link out the recording of the Zoom later on this week, I'll take this entire PowerPoint from Maylin and make it available as a separate link. So you'll have this PowerPoint ready to go. And I'm gonna go ahead, Maylin, if you wanna stop sharing your screen, we can actually allow people to unmute and kind of have a discussion if anybody has questions. A couple of things that Maylin mentioned that I wanted to point out is that you do create a donor account when you register for a fundraiser. And so if you have a donor that has created a fundraiser before, that account still exists. So they'll need to log in. And if they forgot their password, they can just use the reset password function. And then also it is like we've been saying, but I just want to reiterate, it is a great way to have clients or board members share a story that is very personal to them that you may not be able to share on your Gift for Good page just because there's limited amount of space. But if you have somebody that says, oh, well, I went to this nonprofit for help with addiction and I was in their recovery program and they really saved my life. That client or maybe one of that client's family members may feel really personally connected to your organization and have a powerful story to tell. So this is a great way to share those stories. And then they'll share it out with their network while you do all of the main marketing for your big organization profile. And then let's see, we have another question in the, couple more questions in the chat. Let's see. Does the agency get notified when each page is created, thus being able to go in and remove a page if necessary? Yes, you'll receive an email. And then Maylin, do you want to walk through how they could go out and remove it on the back end?
Yeah. Yes, so you will get an email automatically once a page is created. It will give you a link so you can see that page live. Just be aware the email does let you know that maybe the images on there might take an hour or so to clear cache. So they might show blurry if you immediately try to go look at it, but that'll clean up. to edit or deactivate a fundraiser if you need to. Say if there's even just a single typo or something just might be a little inappropriate, you can go in on the back end. If you're under your My Public Profile section, there is a fundraiser tab on the left-hand side where you'll be able to click into and adjust if needed. Once a page is deactivated though, you do not have the ability to reactivate it. So I would suggest first trying to edit the fundraiser if needed, if you can. Of course, if it's totally something you don't need, feel free to deactivate it. But if that's the case, they will have to create a new one.
And then another question in the chat, is it good that we have, or do we need peer-to-peer pages, Facebook pages, and websites? That's a really good question. So I would be, only donations that come through the Give for Good platform are considered a part of Give for Good Day and are eligible for the Lanyard Fund and the prizes. So although these peer-to-peer fundraising pages, they look like GoFundMes and the Facebook fundraisers, they are linked, they are part of the Give for Good system. So if you have somebody that creates a Facebook fundraiser, it is not going to be linked through Give for Good. The GoFundMes are not going to be linked through Give for Good. And so those dollars will not be eligible for prizes or the Lanyard Fund. So if you have a donor that wants to fundraise that way, that's awesome. But I would have everybody focus on strictly your Give for Good campaigns until after May 4th. So if they want to do a birthday fundraiser later on in the year, that's wonderful, but they are not connected through Give for Good. And you also won't get that admin support of the receipts and things being sent like that. And another thing that I believe it was Susan brought up last week in the training is that when you post something to Facebook and you're asking for a donation, Facebook will pop up and say, would you like to add a donate button here? That is setting up a Facebook fundraiser or a way for people to donate through Facebook to your organization. And so all of those donations are going to be handled within the Facebook system and never come through Give for Good. So that's just something to watch out for. When it says, do you want to create a donate button? Do not click yes for Give for Good. You can do that any other time, but if you click yes, it's going to remove that link out of the Give for Good system. So that's a really great question. Asking more so for advertising. Yes, if you want to check out our training last week, which was on social media and digital advertising, utilize all of your channels that you have to promote your Give for Good campaign. So if you send emails to your donors, make sure you're including your Give for Good link. Place it on your website, place it on your Facebook page, anywhere that you have normal communications. I would send out the Give for Good link during those 2 weeks of giving and even prior to as a save the date. So let's see. Is there a specific instruction page to give board members for P2P fundraising page setup? Yes, and actually we will have that set up next week. We will have it underneath the Give tab. It'll say, search a nonprofit, search a fundraiser. At the bottom, it will say create a fundraiser. We'll have very specific instructions, and we'll also have flyers that on the resources page that you can print and give out. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to unmute. If you have anything you want to discuss, any tips and ideas, what's worked for you in the past, any questions for me or Maylin?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm on the active fundraisers. I was playing around. I was talking to you about Emily, and I created one, but it's got the wrong dates on it. How do I correct that to only be the Give for Good dates?
Maylin, do you know?
It defaulted to 320. I'm sorry. It defaulted to 3/25/21 to May 19th, 21.
Yeah, that's correct. It's just posting the day that you created it, and then the end date is the day that it expires. So your fundraising page will show publicly after the event, so you can still see like how much the fundraising page raised, and then kind of after the Give for Good event end date, which is kind of, we start focusing on closing things out around the 19th, your page would no longer be visible.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So they can't donate anyway because it's not active yet.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? No. This one was a quick one today.
Yeah.
And again, we'll have more resources, those flyers, the instructions online for you to pass out to your donors so that they know exactly how to set up the peer-to-peer fundraisers. We're going to stay on for a little while longer. If you have any one-on-one questions, or if you just want to stay on and have some more questions or discussions, we are here for you, so feel free to do so. Also, this is being recorded if you need to come back and reference anything later on.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Maylin.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You know, and while people are getting off, and I think maybe some people are hanging out to ask one-on-one questions, but so a question that we get a lot of the time about the peer-to-peer fundraisers is, how do you approach a donor or a board member to make that ask? And I think you have to really identify the people who are already involved and passionate about your organization and say, hey, I noticed that you share, you know, stuff about our organization on social media. Would you mind creating this Facebook fundraising page? And then you can give them the flyer or the link to the instructions to set up the campaign page, because it is really an easy process. And so asking somebody to share their story, especially if it's a volunteer who maybe is not a big donor to your organization, but wants to help by getting the word out, and they say, I've got 10 friends that can each donate $50 and I'm going to try to recruit them on that day. Well, then that's, you know, an extra $500 to your organization. That's an easy way for them to feel more connected. It's a great way to grow your donor base and keep them engaged. And it's also a way to share their message with people who you may not have been able to reach before, but they are, because it's in their network of peers. There is a question, let's see. When will the recording be posted? I typically post the recordings of the Zooms the next day because it takes it a little while to load up on the cloud and get done, but it will definitely be up by Monday, because I am technically out of town right now. You're seeing my great Airbnb behind me, but it'll be up on Monday. And then, does the logo need to be changed / updated? Which logo, Jessica?
I'm sorry, my daughter's in school.
That's okay.
I was on last week and this week for advertising. I have so many questions, actually. I probably have them all together next week. I help my mom do their Gift for Good. So I have tons of questions, but I'll try to put them together. But just the regular logo that they have. I saw something about updated or changed. Does it need to be changed every year? You use the same one?
Do you mean like your organization's logo?
Yeah, yes.
If you have a new one, you can update it on the back end while you're logged in to the Gift for Good program.
No, I was just saying that I need to make a new one.
Oh,
do I need to change?
You can use the same logo year over year.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.